And this actually is a very special episode because this is the episode that I've reached double digits with the SBG Podcast. We are on episode 10 officially, and I am happy to bring you my next guest, Mr. Ian Romero.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure having you on. It's great to see you here finally. Yeah, man.
We've talked about this for quite a while now. I'm glad we finally got able to knock this bad boy out.
It's fantastic. He
Each
also brought over some fantastic brews right here, some IPAs.
Yeah, but
I've been sipping on some twisted tea and a little bit of this, so I'm feeling a little buzz right now. But it's gonna flow. It helps the conversation flow.
Most definitely.
But so Ian, you have multiple hustles that you're into right now, and what would be your main focus? You would say right now.
So I have two focuses right now. I am a student at LSU, so I'm a full-time student, and I also have my own company in construction, and I also am a salesman for a bigger construction company. The reason I started with a bigger company was because I was getting calls for these jobs that my company was so small I couldn't even take on. So I started with Cloto Construction, and now I'm able to bring to the table to them bigger jobs, as well as I'm able to help them take on other construction jobs, because they started with roofing, and now we're getting into commercial. We're doing industrial jobs, and I'm just helping them pave the way to build their company while my company kind of piggybacks with them. So it's been kind of nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And man, all while being a student, that's crazy. And having a child.
Yeah.
And a family.
2-year-old and
Jeez.
It's a 90-hour work week.
Constantly putting on new hats. So then you said your main business was handyman work, correct?
Yes, EGI Handyman Service is my company. But it was just a one-man wonder for a long time. And I've got a couple guys that I sub with me, and we kind of work together. But Cloto, they're a full-on construction company. They're much surpassed where I am. And so I got on with them as a salesman. And I sell for them, but also, my company produces jobs for them. So, instead of me having to go hustle the jobs, they're kind of just given to me through my company. But they have the manpower to take it on to make everything go faster. Because even if I got one call for a job, it would have taken me months to do. We can knock it out in a couple of days now, because they've got 40 guys working for them. We just show up, knock it out, and we're on our way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we work hand in hand together, and it works out well. And everyone's about my age, so it's just nice. It's nice being around. We're all like-minded. We all just flow together. It's very enjoyable to work with these guys. That's why I really enjoy it.
That's so important in a workspace. If
Most
you're not in an environment that's great, it's because it's every day you have to do it, right? So
yeah, exactly. I don't wake up I don't want to go to work. I'm excited to go to work every day, and it's something different all the time. So that's really why I enjoy construction. It's not huge projects. We're not building hotels that just drain your brain every day trying to get everything coordinated. It's smaller jobs, but they're still efficient, everything flows. That's why I really enjoy working with those guys.
It's not shitloads of red tape with the big jobs.
No, man. It's enjoyable. I don't know if the best word would be
satisfying.
It's satisfying. At the end of the day, I go home, I feel like everybody's had a good day. No one's leaving upset with each other. I think that's the best part about it.
Oh, that's great.
And we show up with big smiles the next day, and we're just ready to conquer the next day, man. It's great.
It's heartwarming.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like I need to drink a fifth of scotch when I get home every day.
Body's not destroyed by 40.
And that was another reason why I got on with them. I'm not actually doing the physical labor. I'm kind of helping them project manage it. So I just kind of put the materials together, and they've got so many guys that we can knock it out so fast that no one's drained at the end of the day, mentally or physically, we're all stable.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's enjoyable.
So how did you get into the handyman business at all? What was the story there?
So I used to work for a company called Shaw Moving. We moved furniture, and they had all these people all the time asking, can y'all mount these TVs for us? And that's basically how my business kind of generated, man. I was like, I can mount these TVs for us. But we didn't have the insurance through the moving company to do it. So I was like, I'm going to just start my own little side gig. And then sure enough, dude, I was mounting like 20 TVs a week at one point.
Damn.
So it just kind of blew up out of nowhere. And then eventually I was like, I'm not breaking my back moving furniture anymore. I think I'm just going to mount some TVs. And I had all the skills from, as a kid, helping my dad remodel homes. So I kind of just, as I would get calls, I would pick and choose like, oh, I can do that. I kind of remember how to do that. And then there's always a good old YouTube where you can learn anything, man. If you can't learn it on YouTube, you can't learn it anywhere.
Oh, for sure. I have fixed a whole lot of DIY shit in my own house, man. Doing that.
That is right, man. To save money and you can learn a skill, like it's perfect.
Yeah. That's great. So then whenever you were doing the TV gig, you started like acquiring more people underneath you while you were doing that?
As in like more personnel?
Yeah, like working for you.
So throughout, I have a bunch of friends that like I have carpenters and electricians just from knowing throughout my life. So as I was doing this, the TV mouse, customers would ask me, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I would be like, no, but I know a guy that can. And we would just work together. And I would just kind of assist them in learning what they know how to do. That's how I picked up more skills. And now like I'm kind of a well-rounded, I can do all kind of stuff. Like I'm really good with electricity. I went to school for instrumentation, so I learned I guess you could say the scientific part of it, like how electricity works.
Yeah.
Now I can do both sides. Like I can do the labor and figure out like how many wires, not even how many wires, but how much voltage can run through this wire and all that.
Yeah.
So I kind of got the science behind it. And like I said, I know a bunch of electricians. Like I can always call them, like, how do I need to do this? And they could draw me a blueprint in no time. Just map it out.
Have you ever installed any like surround sound systems?
Oh yeah, I've done camera, surround sound, doorbell, like all the low voltage stuff. I'm not wiring in no like 220 crazy stuff like that. I'm not trying to blow myself up, or I'm not licensed for that either.
It feels spooky, right?
Yeah.
I had to do that with my damn water heater. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh man, I'll have to post some pics. I might have talked about this in a previous episode, but I'll post some pics. But yeah, my water heater, Abby was like, she takes a lot of baths. It's like her thing, right? She loves to take a bath.
She's a mermaid, just like my wife.
Yeah. So she has her finger on the pulse of the hot water, and she knows exactly whenever it stops producing as much, volume of hot water, So one day she was like, it's not as hot as it used to be. And like, my hair trigger on my anxiety of household things breaking is very thin. So I was like, fuck, what is it now? She's like, oh, it's just, it cuts out, before, way before it used to. And I'm like, oh man, maybe it'll heal itself over time or something,
Some corrosion off that element and let it rock and roll.
So over time, a couple more days pass, it doesn't heal itself. And I'm like, man, I'm going to have to address this bullshit now. It's like getting to be, persistent. So then I'm looking on YouTube trying to figure out what it is. And they're like, oh, the most common thing is the heating elements, right? Where you like unscrew them and then you can just replace them.
Tank and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's like the easiest, the best outcome. So I ordered the elements. I still have them.
Did you ohm them out? Did you even test them to see if
I didn't test them out, but
really?
I was like, surely that must... Yeah, I was hoping. So then I should have tested them before I ordered the shit. But so then I get up there and I'm testing them once I have them ordered and in hand. And I'm like, I bust off the first panel at the top. And the back of the coil looks fine, the back of the element. I'm like, okay, I tested with my multimeter and it's got, resistance, so it's not busted. Then I'll bust off the bottom panel and immediately the insulation, I'll post pics of it, but it's like the insulation is like burnt. The wire has like come off of the damn...
So just doing some arcing every now and then.
Yeah, and the element, the thermostat was like completely burnt up and like melted because it had like
too, though. Yeah.
Well, it popped a pinhole of like rust. It like rusted out where where you'd screw in the element and had like filled up the bottom of the like between, how there's like an outer shell and an inner shell, that in between space where all that insulation was like full of water about that deep inside of the water heater.
So the water was actually draining from the heater onto the thermostat?
Yeah, and that's what arced it.
Dang.
And so, it could have like burnt that bitch down. Yeah, so I was like, well,
Could have shocked the piss out of you too, man.
Yeah, well, I disconnect. I turned the breaker off. Yeah,
kill the breaker.
Yeah. So I was like, man, this requires more than just a simple heating element change. I think because the shit is like rusted through, right? It's leaking water. So then I go and I buy a new water heater from Lowe's, and the thing is like not light, and it's like awkward to handle. It's big. I mean, it's like a 50-gallon. So then that was like $550. Bring it home, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this, and all this while we don't have hot water. Right, so we're boiling water on the stove and taking baths like pilgrims right here, and this is like night 2 of that, and I'm trying to like replace this water heater, and I get the water heater inside the house. Just to get it inside the house is a bitch, and then I'm like looking up at the attic, and I'm measuring the diameter of the water heater, and I'm measuring the entrance of the attic, and I would have had to have taken out the like stairs of the attic and the like springs and everything, so that it was literally just a hole in my roof, and then that would have given me a 1/2-inch clearance on either side.
Holy
if I would have
shit.
done all that, and then I would have had to have pushed it straight up because of the pitch of the roof made it to where you can't just push it up any kind of way. It has to be like straight up in there.
All while doing it by yourself.
Yeah. So I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. So I'm like sitting there trying to figure it out, and then I freaking ended up like taking my Sawzall and cutting a hole in my ceiling so that I can reroute the piping down, and I just kept the water heater down on like this floor right here, not in the room. And then just relocated, went and got more wire and more pipe and piped it up down there. But yeah, and then I had to learn, and this is a pro tip right here, PVC for cold water is not the same as CPVC for hot water.
What's the difference, do you know?
It's totally different, like chemical makeup, and it doesn't even use the same glue. Like you can use that blue PVC glue to like bind joints and shit for regular PVC. It takes a totally different kind of glue for CPVC, which is for hot water.
I've always done copper, so I really don't know much about it.
Right? Like I never even knew.
Yeah, I didn't know they had 2 different PVCs. I've done drain PVCs, but not cold and hot.
Yeah, so then that was like the 3rd night. I had all the materials, and I had the PVC and all this shit because I was like not thinking there was a difference, and I go to like hook them up, and I'm like, this PVC joint is not the same. It's not fitting to this other existing.
The whole thing that it ties into the hot water is totally different.
Oh yeah, the diameter and the inside diameter and everything is like
different
for the hot. Yep, it's different,
shit.
And it's a different color. I thought it was like a different color because it was like aged, but it's
really
different. Yep. And if you were to use the cold water PVC for the hot water side, it would like heat it up too much, and it would like cause it to expand and like sag and stuff. That's why.
No shit. I didn't know this.
Yep. And then once I finally got it all rigged up and everything, I was tightening the shit up, and I had my Teflon tape around the threads and everything. And then the shit was like leaking on the cold water side. So I was like, why? It was like a water torture on my brain trying to figure out how to get this thing, because I was like done, like the anxiety.
Hot water heater.
Oh yeah, I was like, the anxiety was through the roof with this by now, so I was just wanting it to be done, and it was just dripping. Every time we'd use the hot water, it would drip from the connection point on top of the hot water heater. I was like, man, I can't keep dealing with this crap. So over time, eventually, one of my other buddies came over, and he had some of that like pipe dope. You ever seen that? And we smeared it around the edges, and that did it. So if you're ever having issues with that crap, yep.
Is it still like that till this day?
Yeah, I mean, it's fixed. It's not no issue so far.
It's still like
downstairs.
Like,
yep.
Shit, huh?
And it's got a drain pan, but the drain pan doesn't go anywhere.
You just got to check it every now and then. I think that's better than going on your floor.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have one at all at my house. Now that I think about it, like it's just sitting on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it ever starts leaking, my landlord's in a bind.
And that's the thing. It's like it never like escaped the outer shell, which is crazy. Like you would think if it would, like it contained the leak.
Oh yeah, that could have been a way bigger issue, man. It could have hot water pouring from your ceiling. That could not be no bueno, dude.
I know, right? There's so many possibilities. I mean, the shit like arcing inside of the insulation.
Know it till you get in your attic.
Yes.
Damn, I just went tankless. Tankless are not much more expensive to do. They're so much more compact.
Really?
Oh yeah, So with electric ones, the only issue is the coils on those guys. Being that we have such high calcium in our water, they become calcified. Like, you almost got to change the elements. But there is a way to get around that. And I actually work with a company. So we use magnets that we put on the inlets right before it goes into anything that uses, or pretty much anything. But say like a hot water heater, for instance, they have electricity. And on the anode, so the anode, whenever you apply heat to it, it attracts all of the calcium and all the salinity, so it becomes calcified. But when the magnets, you put them on these water lines, as the water flows through, it vortexes this water and it rearranges the molecules. And what it does is it makes water wetter, so the water doesn't actually stick to anything. So when it goes through your hot water heaters, it actually pulls the calcium out and pushes it through.
What?
Yeah, man. I've been working for this company about 2 years. But this technology was designed in like the 1800s for hot water boilers. Yeah, yeah. So I was actually on the reservation looking at a school one day, and they were talking about their hot water heater kept giving them issues, and I brought up these magnets. They're like, dude, we've been trying to find this forever, because they know about this technology. They just didn't know where to find it.
Hidden technology.
Yeah, I was like, it's just 3 bar magnets. Like, it's nothing crazy, but they're just triangulated to where when water passes through, it literally rearranges the hydrogen molecule to where it separates. So yeah, dude, like, it pulls instead of attracts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so the company I work for, it's pretty cool, man. And they can condition fuel too, but they change the polarity of the magnets. So instead of having all the north poles together, they switch them and all the south poles press on each other, and it reacts different on carbon. So, like, when I have one on my truck, and my truck was getting about 15 miles to the gallon. I get like 17 miles to the gallon just from this magnet. Yeah, man. And my plugs are never dirty. Like, it's crazy.
Where do you put the magnet on your truck?
Put it on your fuel line, on your fuel rail, right before it goes into the injectors.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Man, if you get disappeared by the government for increasing...
If I get disappeared, I work for a 3-star general. I'd be like, what's going on here, man? Why is he still hanging out selling these things? I'm coming for him.
Exposing the secrets of the universe right here. You've heard it live.
Terrence Howard, secondhand man right here, man. I got anti-gravity coming next, y'all. Just get ready.
God, we could talk about that, man, because that was so crazy. At first, whenever I was listening to it, this is the Joe Rogan has just recently interviewed Terrence Howard, right, the actor.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like, the dude's brain should be like showing from the outside.
Dude, they call Elon Musk an alien. That dude is an alien, dude. Like,
and you'd never think.
No, I'd never known, dude. I thought he was just like an actor that just makes cool movies about hanging out with hookers. That's all I thought he did. This dude's talking about all kind of crazy stuff. And the stuff he talks about, like, I've heard about it before. So it wasn't anything new to me, but him talking about it, and he kind of dumbed it down. Like, can you talk about it, like, to a 4th grade or whatever that show is? He dumbed it down to that part for me, and that's what I thought was really cool. Anybody that listens to that podcast is like, this dude kind of makes sense, man. Like, yeah.
Well, the way that he talked about the element, the periodic table of elements was super neat. Like, I never even thought about them having, like, their own frequencies and, like, how they interact with each other.
They have their own frequencies too.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Dude, it's pretty cool. I've been listening to more and more. Like, ever since I've listened to that, I've been on YouTube just, like, diving deep into what he's got to say, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And I enjoy it. I really do. Like, I enjoyed more knowing that this could possibly become reality for our world one day. Like, we're not going to be struggling for powering anything. Like, everything's just going to have its own source of power that we don't have to pay for. And I love how he talks about we're the only species in the universe that has currency.
Right?
Yeah, whenever he talks, I was like, man, that hits deep, man. I was like, God. Imagine just having everything and not have to pay for nothing. That sounds amazing. That might send me to straight to get picked up, but man, it sounds so amazing. You could just be free balling everywhere and not be worried about nothing.
Oh yeah, free energy. I've looked into that a lot over time. The ether and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. I wish I could understand it more so I could explain it better to people, but I'm just like, go listen to that guy. He can explain it because my brain does not work that well. I just enjoy hearing somebody that intelligent is trying to use the intelligence for something good.
Yeah.
Other than for profit. You know?
Or weapons.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's not blow up the planet. Let's make it efficient to where you can all be happy. I feel like that's such a great attitude towards everything, man.
Oh, yeah.
One day.
Man.
Hopefully.
I did a deep dive recently. I told you about that with the sun stuff. With the solar, the polar swap and all that shift. Stuff. Yeah.
So, same guy I heard about this information that Terrence Howard was talking about. His name is Drunvalo Melchizedek. So he's got like probably 8 books I've read by, but he wrote a book called The Flower of Life, and he talks about like how the pole shifted so drastically. Literally, all the planes in the world had to have all their their systems recalibrated so they knew where they were going because they were so off.
And it's like yearly probably too because
I don't know if it's still a thing, like if they do it yearly, but I know at one year it was so drastic, like everybody was down and they had to recalibrate like immediately. And I love how no one talked about it because if I wouldn't have read about it, I would have never known about it.
So crazy. Yeah. I've been watching, there's a guy called like Suspicious Observers, and he's like a space weather guy on YouTube, but I've been following his stuff pretty closely now. And whenever that big storm came through recently, the solar storm, he was talking about that before, like as it happened, before it actually hit Earth, he was talking about it and all the impacts and stuff. But that was like a little mini Carrington event. In fact, the sunspots that produced that were the same size as the sunspots that produced the Carrington event. And that type of event, if our poles weren't shifting and our magnetic shield wasn't weakening, apparently we wouldn't have seen the auroras down even in Louisiana. So I'm really
we tried to catch those. Me and Emmy drove out to the Henderson Lake and it was so overcast. We were so butthurt, man. I just want to see this and not have to go to Alaska.
I know, right? So
could y'all see it from out here, being it's so dark out here?
You couldn't see it from the naked eye, but if you had a long exposure on like a camera, you could have.
So like a telescope, could you have seen if you had like a wide enough lens?
Well, I think it's mostly just like the amount of light you'd have to capture in a certain time frame. Like I don't think anybody could see it from the naked eye down here. It'd have to be like captured over time.
Oh, okay.
Like long exposure.
Man, me and him were all excited. Like,
I was
drive out to the lake and go check this out. Man,
I know, right?
On the top of the levee, just cruising.
Because all the pictures people were posting, I was like, shit, you can see that right now. Like, ran outside, and I was looking, I was like, wait a minute, you can't see that. And then they all started.
Shit, y'all lying asses, y'all photoshopping, trying to make it look all cool.
But apparently, like, man, if we end up getting another crazy, we're in a solar maximum right now, which could last for like upwards of another year. So it's highly possible that we might end up being able to see some auroras down there. And if we can, that would be super bonkers, man.
What's a solar maximum? What is it? How do you define
So the
that?
sun is it goes through cycles, right? And so far as I know, we haven't been tracking them for super long as like a human population, right?
They've been tracking shit, like talking about what, 6,000 years, maybe longer, but
exactly. So
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of the sun, right? So then, it's going through these different cycles, and this guy has a bunch of videos where he talks about, the whole cycle of the sun going through its minimum and maximum is about 11 years apparently, and it does a pole shift. So that's once it builds up, and then it ends up shifting its poles, and then it comes back down. And when it's on the upward trend of it, that's why you're seeing like all of the sunspots and the crazy like CMEs and the crazy flares and all that stuff. And it's got like probably another good 6 months to a year of ramping up before it starts to decline.
Okay.
So yeah, the one that we saw recently, I think, let me see, it was like several flares back to back, and that's why it made a big deal. But there was like, I think they were like X, they weren't high on the scale, but apparently the one that was the Carrington event was like an X like 40 or some shit, where these ones that we just got hit with were like X 2s to 5s or something like that. So if you ever hear of anyone, like X, 10 or above, those are like,
severely,
pretty big ones.
Yeah. So, track back to did you say what protects us from the solar flares? That's weakening, you said?
Yes, that's part.
Is that
I mean,
climate change? Is that
so
climate change?
and it all, don't take my word for it.
Yeah,
I'll post the link to this guy so that you can hear
I'm
it for
just
yourself.
curious.
Yeah,
But you got my
is.
brain spinning right
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Man.
I know. I've been waiting to talk to you about this. Yeah. So this is the knowledge that I've gleaned from different YouTube heaps that talk about it. But so the Earth has an electromagnetic shell around it, right? That's
Okay.
the magnetic
Polarities
shield.
of the actual poles of the planet.
Well, it just it generates this shield by itself, right? And
Okay.
so then the poles, whenever they shift, that is weakening the shield apparently.
Okay.
So while it's doing that, it's going down in like a parabolic graph, according to this dude. And so then it's weakening like. It started off slow, but it's like an iceberg tilting over, right? It's slow at first, and then once it gains momentum, it just flips.
Affecting right now.
Right. And so then right now, I think we're like 20 or 25% less, maximum capacity of our shield than we were, 10, 20 years ago, I want to say.
Does it progressively go lower? Or does it?
It does.
It goes back up too, though.
It will once the poles eventually do their thing.
So they're not totally done flipping. Okay.
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh,
this is
okay.
like it has been increasing since the 1800s. I think in the 1800s it was like a few miles or kilometers per year the magnetic poles were moving, and then now it's like 50 to 55 kilometers per year.
Is that moving the equator at the same time?
It's just the magnetic portion of it,
I just
right?
didn't know if it was like changing the tilt of the planet to where the equator shifted.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I got so many questions.
I know, right? Yeah, but eventually I think that it's supposed to have some sort of like physical effect on the plates and everything else once it reaches a certain point.
Super volcanoes or something.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's what all the disturbance is of all the plates and the magnet. And there's a shitload of activity around the globe with like different volcanoes going on. There's like I can't pronounce the name of
have all the tsunamis again, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But so while it's like a double-edged sword, right? So then you got the Earth that's undergoing this change, weakening the shield, which is making it to where the CMEs and the flares that we've recently been hit with, apparently they would not have produced the same auroras that we would have been able to see down here normally. Like that wouldn't have been visible down here, but because our poles are weakening, that's why we're seeing that type of stuff down here.
It's allowing more light, basically. Is that what it is?
It's making us more susceptible to the radiation being off-put from the CMEs and the flares.
Is that what the actual
auroras are?
They're actually radiation.
Yeah. It's exciting oxygen and nitrogen in different like areas of the atmosphere. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And there's a color chart, that shows which gases are being hit by the radiation. But so then all the while that's going on, that's energy being absorbed by our Earth, right? That's more susceptible to absorbing the energy at a time when the sun is producing more of this energy. So then that's tying into the weather that we've been seeing. So you remember right after we got those flares we got hit with, we got those badass storms that we got hit with.
Have you seen the picture of the funnel cloud they have?
No.
Did you want to see it real quick?
Bro, hit me with it. Maybe he'll send it to me and I could post it so that the viewers can...
I want to show it to you right now. Like this is in Scott, like for people that don't know where we are. Is this like a local podcast?
Oh yeah. Tell it on the mic so they can hear you.
Sorry you guys. So I live in Carencro, and this is like, I say Carencro. It's Lafayette Parish, borderline Carencro, Scott. And the picture I'm about to show him is in Scott, Louisiana. Like
that was the most recent one, right? That's the one that hit.
This was Monday last week. Yeah,
damn, that's badass.
That's a tornado, buddy. That's not no just little whirlwind going on.
I've never been like super concerned about just like run-of-the-mill random storms that pop up, but recently they've all been badass storms. And that one that you're showing right there, they had two of them, right? There was the
Monday
one
and Thursday,
right?
Yeah,
the one on Monday, we went outside and I'd never heard a tornado before.
Me neither.
And so then I was out there on the deck right there, and I was like, man, like everybody who says, they hear about tornadoes, it sounds like a train, but I didn't realize which part of the train they say it sounds like. It's the tracks. It's it's like a oscillating sound. And I was standing on the deck, and the deck was like vibrating with that sound going on. And I was like, this sounds like a damn train. And it changes in frequency. It was like getting higher pitched and lower
Pressure
pitched.
changing constantly.
Yeah, and like the tightening of the the wind. And I thought I was like hearing shit because it was so much going on. And then there was that low rumble of that was constant throughout the thunder and the wind. And I was like, this has to be like a tornado nearby.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I got Abby out here and the kids, and it's like all hell's breaking loose outside. Our damn rabbit cages that have never flipped over in 2 years of us living here flipped over twice during that 1 week of those two storms hitting.
Damn.
70 plus mile an hour winds, and I was like,
70?
okay,
Dude, it was 130 by my house.
insane.
My neighbor's roof blew into my yard. Dude, like, so just like I was putting our chickens in at 6:58. Like, I'm closing everything, like, just trying to get everything secure. 7 o'clock, there is just a white wall of rain, and it's not coming down. It is sideways. Like, so I'm like, get in the bathtub.
Yes.
Like, just get in the house. And I'm just at the front door like an idiot. Like, I got to watch, though. I got to be a man in the house. Dude. And I could hear my neighbor's, like, house, like, going through some shit. And I looked in my backyard, and there's just shingles just fucking flying, dude. Like, it was crazy. Yeah, dude, like, it was done within 5 minutes, though. Like, by 7:30, I was on his roof tarping. I was like, we got to mitigate this because you're going to have a bind. Like, I could see in his ceiling.
Damn.
Yeah, it was bad, dude.
Man, there might have been like a little phone cloud pass right over his house.
He was standing outside, and he watched all this shit happen. He's like, dude, I was just yelling at the storm, like, fuck you, like, going off. And it's like, oh, yeah, motherfucker. And it just came straight at him, dude. And it like, backtracked, and it came and hit him again. Like, it was crazy.
Dang. See, that's when I was getting concerned when I was watching the rain and the wind coming, like, sideways like this.
It's and then going up because it's going.
And then it starts going the other way.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. It's like circling. Oh, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, I was like, are we in fucking Oklahoma or something right now? Like,
yeah,
what's going on?
So then, yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. Is like those two rainstorms, they were just random rainstorms, but the process of us taking on all that energy from the sun now is able to produce. It's like affecting all climate, right? It's affecting the hots are supposed to be hotter, colds be colder, all the volcanic activity and shit, and then also normal rainstorms that are just supposed to be like what we would have they're just like cranked up to 11 because of all this extra energy that's being put onto the earth.
No.
Pretty spooky if you think about it.
Where's all that energy gonna go? Like, where does it end up going?
That's what I'm wondering too. I'm wondering, like, just because a storm got cranked up to 11, I really wonder if, like, the Earth is like a closed circuit. Like, we take on that energy. It's not like the energy
just takes it eventually.
Yeah, like, it's not like the energy can just get pushed back into space.
Yeah,
like, once we absorb it, does it just stay?
I feel like the Energizer Bunny after this. Like, what's going on, man? I want to be like the fucking Hulk after all this comes through.
And then that's all playing into the Gulf of Mexico is like extra hot this hurricane season.
Have you seen the hurricane season we're talking about? I keep telling people on my Facebook, I'm like, y'all better get ready, buddy, because I'm going to be coming, because y'all going to be calling, because y'all going to need a roof up pretty soon.
Oh, man, hopefully I'm not calling. I don't want my roof to fly off.
Oh, man, luckily we have a metal roof in our home. I was like, if this metal roof comes off, there ain't shit I can do. We in a brick home and a metal roof, too. Like, if this takes us, like, there ain't shit I can do.
You're going to have to start rewriting history books after that.
Yeah, like, ain't no F5. We got an F-17 tornado hit my house this morning. Rob Perilla was like, I don't even know what the fuck to say. I've never seen this. Crazy shit, man.
Yeah, it's like cool to think about, but it's also kind of spooky because it's like you can't really do anything about it.
No, like, we don't have bunkers because they're going to get flooded here. It's not like we could just go get in the fucking basement. We can't do that shit here.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to have to do like Twister and just go put me some pipes super deep and get some belts and we'll just strap in next time. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that. I mean, hurricanes, we can deal with. But I've also actually been looking at property in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I found some. Dude, I found 3/4 of an acre for $1,500 in the middle of nowhere. So I was telling him, I think I might buy this. Go put like a little shack out there, and like for any hurricane, we're just gonna roll out.
Oh yeah.
So I've got all the solar and windmills at my house. Like, I can go like deck this shit out. We can just go hang out for a week while everything's mitigated back home. So, might come back to nothing, but at least we'll still be around. That's all I'm worried about.
Is it like got some woods around it?
It's straight wood. Like, I'd have to clear it out.
Hell
But there's a road I can get to it, and then I could just clear out a path to get in the center of it and just like mark me out where I need to like cut everything down and go fucking build something on there. Like, just go camping or something.
Got some deer up there.
Oh, yeah. I've got a guy I work with from Arkansas. He's like, dude, whenever you want to come hang out, like, we're going hunting wherever, because he's a big-time hunter. He loves elk hunting. He's like, I can get us all the elk tags wherever you want. I'm like, that doesn't sound legal, but if you can give me an elk tag, and let's do it, buddy, because I've been wanting to go shoot an elk.
Did they have elk in Arkansas?
No.
I was about to say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how he's getting these out-of-state elk tags. It's like a pool thing. Like, not everybody can buy one. I think they just have to, like, they pull a certain amount, and if they pull your name, you get a tag.
Wow.
And that doesn't even guarantee you an elk. Like, you still got to go out there and find that bad boy. Like, it's not like, yeah, just come on down to the ranch and get you an elk. Like, you still got to find that bad boy. But, yeah, he's like, yeah, I can get plenty of them. I was like, I don't know if that's true, but I'll take some elk meat if you want to bring me some elk meat back.
Oh man, I wish that we had it. I don't know if it's like it's the time thing too. Like down here, I'm like butted up against some woods, and I've killed a deer and one pig back here, but it feels like it's just so hard fought to even do that, because it's like you gotta contend with the damn mosquitoes and everything else, and it's like you sit out there for so much time to get the one animal. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's an investment for sure. Like, it's not just money; it's time, man. It really is. Like, unless you're in a hot spot where there's deer running, or like rural areas, I guess there's way more deer than there are here. But we also have very small deer, so like, even you almost got to kill 2 deer here just to get through the year.
Yeah, for sure.
When you go up north, you can kill a fucking 300-pound buck, or I don't know if that's a real buck, but I'm just saying, like, I know they're much bigger.
They get big.
Really?
Yeah, it's that northern genetic. Yeah, because they got to withstand the cold.
Basin deer here. I don't know why they're smaller here, but
so I've seen some pretty monstrous ones. It's just like it's hard to get them, and I've never
deep in the woods or something.
Yeah, I've never seen a buck out here actually personally with my eye. I've seen some on my camera.
Seen a 6-point, but it wasn't like, oh my god, look at this monster. It was just a buck.
Crazy shit.
Dude, the craziest story. So my first time ever hunting. My uncle always tells me, he's like, you lucky bastard. Like, I didn't shoot a deer, but I got to see a big-ass fucking 4-point. It was in Mississippi, in Macomb, Mississippi.
What?
He's like, you are the most luckiest motherfucker.
A giant 4-point.
Yeah, I was like 10 years old, so it was a big deer to me, but he's like, do you know how long it took me to see a fucking doe, let alone a fucking buck? And sure enough, dude, like within 45 minutes of the sun coming out, this buck comes on through.
Dang.
I didn't shoot it. I was just more of like, oh my god, I'm seeing a deer. But it was pretty cool, man. Like, my uncle still tells me today, like, you're one of the luckiest motherfuckers I know, dude. And then he brought me hunting about 4 years ago. He hadn't killed shit all year. And he puts me in like, he's like, this is just a blind people hunt. Fucking killed 2 does in fucking 30 minutes. He's like, you motherfucker, bro. I don't know how you do it. I was like, you must smell like shit or something, because they must smell your ass, because I knocked him down, but I'm bringing me some deer meat home. Oh, yeah.
Damn, that's tight. Yeah, I love hunting. One of these days, whenever I can afford more land, I'd love to get enough to where I could like hit different spots, because that's the key element. It's like if you hit in the same spot over and over, those deer know that you're there.
They figure that shit out. You need a couple 100 acres to like map them out, know where they migrate to, so you can go trap their ass in. Yeah.
But I always wanted to test out different types of broadheads, because like it just seems so interesting to me. Like, because I'm stuck with the fixed broadheads, the Montex.
Yeah, like the 3 points where they just.
But they're not like
the mechanical explosive ones.
I would like to try
so
those.
I've never shot anything but a raccoon one of those, and that motherfucker didn't walk away. I'll tell you that much.
Tears a hole like that.
God, dude, with the little rubber band, as soon as it hits, it poof.
Dude, my dad
destroyed him, dude.
My dad shot a buck it was called a Spitfire, and it had the rubber band on and all that stuff, and it was one that like once it hits, it deploys like backwards, like
That's
it
what
opens
mine did.
up.
That's
yeah,
exactly what mine did. Just
And
serrated edges, and it just
it hit him. It hit this deer, and it went up like this, up the rib cage, and it split like almost the whole rib cage. An arrow split bone all the way up. Yep, the whole rib cage.
Damn, you got a fucking 200-pound press behind that motherfucker.
It was
Holy
like
shit.
it had like flayed open. It was insane. Looks like he shot it with a rifle, but it was
Probably
a
dropped it
Spitfire.
right there like a
yeah.
rifle. Nice.
Insane.
That's the best, man. When you just shoot a deer and you don't have to look for it, like that's the best.
And then now my like preferred hunting option is my crossbow, and that thing puts them down for sure.
Oh yeah, you just gotta hit him with that bad boy, man.
Yeah. I hit the deer that I shot it in the hindquarters on accident, because like whenever I was watching it come through the woods, there was like an opening that I was watching it come through, and I was like, it was only like 10-15 yards away.
Really?
And I was watching it come through the woods, and I was like watching this one spot because everything else was covered in brush, and there was like an opening and the hole like this big, and I was like, I just have to like hit it when it comes through this hole. So I'm like posted up waiting for it to come through this hole, and walking the whole time, and all I could see was brown. So then I thought that it was its torso, like its ribs, that I was about to hit, but it was actually like the butt of it, and it was like right underneath the spine, and it hit those like arteries, like feeding the legs, and it bled out in like 30 seconds.
It just stayed there though. You just shot there.
It ran off like 20 or 30 yards, and then it just felt like I watched it fall over.
No
Insane. I thought I couldn't believe it.
Dude, I've got a crazy story. It was like a 300-yard shot. Like, I had never tried to shoot a deer this far.
That's pretty far.
Yeah. I'm sitting there. My uncle's in the same blind with me because there's just this huge headland. I was like, it's fucking as far as you can see, but this deer's about 300 yards away. I take a shot, and when I hit it, I didn't actually hit it. It just stopped. But I did hit it. But this is where it gets funny. My uncle, like, it took off, so my uncle yells out the blind, and it stops. He just drops it. So we walk up to this deer. I shot this deer in its asshole, like right behind its tail. It looked like he took a knife and just kind of skinned its asshole a little bit, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, that was a horrible shot I took. My uncle just dropped him right there. I'm like, yeah, we know who the sharpshooter is in the family, and it ain't fucking me. Yeah.
Man, that reminds me. It's hard to judge distance and bullet drop, right? Insane.
I mean, I was super young. I might have been like 13. I wasn't a super hunter at that point. Like now, I could shoot you at 300 yards, but back then, like, I had never even attempted that. 100 yards is what I was comfortable with.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I'm going for it, and sure enough, I skimmed his asshole though. My uncle laughed his ass off when he saw that, dude. But I hit him. I just didn't hit him in the right spot.
Whenever we were hunting in Texas, West Texas, like probably 10 years ago, I was posted up, and this deer came out, and it was far, but I wasn't very good judging distance, and I shot it where it would have lined up with its like heart, and it took off. I was like, oh, shit, well, I must have not hit it. And then it came back limping a little bit, half the distance from where it was, and then I shot it and killed it, right? So then we like go and pick it up, and I'm like looking at its feet and stuff, and why it might have been limping, and where I shot, the bullet dropped. It blew one of his hooves off, and I was like, damn. So I was aiming in the right spot. The bullet just dropped so much that it clipped one of his damn hooves off.
What were you hunting with?
I think it was a 270.
Oh, I mean, they usually fly pretty far, though, huh?
I know. I mean,
that's a far-ass shot, damn.
Like so crazy. Man, I never usually get into hunting segments, so this has been a nice little change up.
We are fucking all over the place right now, man. I love it.
So now we'll embrace the cooking segment that has come about. So why don't you tell me about one of your favorite dishes that you like to cook?
Man, so not my favorite dishes to eat, but my best meal I can cook because I've mastered it because my family likes it is my Alfredos. Like, I can cook an Alfredo like a motherfucker, bro. Like, when they say they cook like a mother, I cook like a motherfucking Alfredo, dude. Like, I've got it so down to a science, like how you like just melt everything down and emulsify it all together perfectly so it's not all grainy. Like, it comes out perfect.
Dang.
Yeah.
And so there's no canned Alfredo sauce in
dude,
your
we
pantry.
don't do canned anything in my house. Everything's from scratch, dude. Like, if we can't cook it from scratch, we're not cooking it.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that you might have you were about to cook like a shrimp Alfredo over here or something.
I do that. I do a mean ass crawfish fettuccine. I can do anything, man. Like even like desserts. Like I can cook a bomb ass cheesecake, dude.
Oh
yeah.
My
dude.
wife might have to fight you over that title.
I'm not gonna say I got the best cheesecake in town, but like my dad, he loves cooking cheesecake, so I kind of like piggybacked off his recipe and just kind of tweaked it a little bit and like.
Do you have the little wet band that goes around the baking pan to keep it like?
No, I just use aluminum foil. Like I put a bunch of aluminum foil in there and I let it float in there. But no, I've seen the bands. Like I don't cook them enough to invest in something. I'm a lazy ass cooker. I'm just gonna aluminum foil it a couple times and rock and roll.
If it works, then.
Yeah, whatever works. It's probably cheaper than that too. I guess I don't know.
You know, I thought about you the other day whenever we had that styled shoot that Abby put on, and the guy that owns the Maison Stephanie, this old dude, he was pretty cool. I was talking with him about the different stuff that he had going on over there, and they had just recently had a couple of chefs go and like have a dinner party where they like cooked a bunch of wild game, and he had a bunch of leftover like goose and alligator and frog and stuff like that, and he like gave me a bunch of these like gallon Ziploc bags of this meat, right?
No shit, huh?
And I was like, oh man, I gotta figure out, like goose can be kind of gamey if you don't have something to go with it.
On the way here, like duck, that is not my favorite thing to cook, man. Like it's so gamey.
But if you can cook it right, it's like
soak it in milk overnight.
It can be
it's
good
to go. That's how I've always done it.
So I was looking online, and they were like, yeah, if you pair it with a good sauce, then it can like really help it out. And I made this like peach butter rosemary brown sugar sauce, and man, that shit right there was very good.
Badass, dude.
And it seemed like it could go with any kind of red meat, but it reminded me of that sauce. What is it, the Diana sauce?
Steak of Diane sauce.
Yeah.
It's a venison dish. Like it's strictly made for venison.
Yeah.
You gotta use backstrap though. You cut them in like little diamonds, like almost like a scallop. Is it scallop? It's a scallop.
Yeah.
Kind of like scallops, but you use brandy in it too. Like it just fucking works, dude.
It reminded me heavily of whenever you were talking
dude.
about that. I was like, man.
I've cooked that a couple times. Man, just fucking speaking of this crazy ass storm, it fucking tripped my GFI on my fucking freezer and I lost 5 pounds of backstrap. I was fucking distraught when I found that shit, dude.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Like, it could have been any fucking thing, not the backstrap, man.
And you can't tell unless you like open the damn freezer.
It's like, you're gonna be pissed, but dude, we lost everything.
So it was just off?
Oh yeah, the whole GFI, like the GFI got fried. Like I tried to like reset it, and as soon as I swapped it out, I knew it turned right back on.
Man, that's crazy.
I should have listened to my dad, who's a pretty good electrician. He was like, you never put a GFI outside where you have your freezers. Because he's like, if it trips, you don't fucking know. But he's like, if you got a normal socket, it'll trip the breaker that everything else is running off of, so you know.
Yeah.
I was like, that motherfucker was right, man.
That's when you text him and let him know.
You fucking asshole, he was right. Yeah, there's no GFI there anymore. It's just a normal outlet now. Learn my lesson. Like, I'm going to pass it on to my kid. You better listen to this one, boy. You're going to lose your backstrap.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, buddy.
So, video games. What is your favorite video game? Because I got to ask, since the creation of this podcast was based off of video games,
So, back from, I really started off, on, when the first Xbox came out, I was, super big into Halo. I played a lot of Halo.
Right.
I mean, as a kid, I played a bunch of games, but I didn't have no favorite game. But now I play a lot of RuneScape.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I play old school RuneScape like crazy, dude. I played it a lot when I was in, elementary, but now, in my free time, that's what I play.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, way surpassed what I was as a kid because I understand how the game operates now. I'll kick some ass at some old school RuneScape.
So, have you ever heard of the game Tibia?
No.
It's kind of like a 2D version of RuneScape, and I would dabble back and forth back in the day with those two games, but I ended up playing a lot of Tibia instead of RuneScape. Oh, dang. A little technique right there.
I'm not opening. all the fans out there, I just learned a new one.
But yeah, so for Tibia, it was like I actually like adopted a lot of skill type mechanics from that game into Dragon's Bane right there, because it was like a user.
Is this
like,
a game you created?
Yeah, Dragon's Bane.
Is this the like Pokemon where you kind of like walking around like the Pokemon world?
That's it.
Okay. I remember you showing me like back in the day when you were working on
the
it.
first conception of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of mechanics for that game came from Tibia, because in Tibia, if you used like an axe, the damage that you would do from using that axe was like counted as experience. So then you would level up your axe skill. It would do more damage, and in my game I made it do more damage and do more crit and all this other stuff.
So there's more
But
elements to just an XP to it, basically.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So then with that, I ended up using that in like everything that the game had to offer, right? Because I was like, man, you could like basically custom tailor the user's experience to how they played for everything. So then I did it with the shop. Like the more that you would like buy and sell from the shop, it would level up the shop, and then you'd like get better items.
Better shit, basically.
Yeah, he would have a better inventory.
Oh, no shit.
And even the monsters, whenever you would like kill monsters in the world, you could like farm up like the beginner area where you start off as, but that area had like an experience bar to it, and the more you'd kill monsters, then they would start spawning rares and like super rare nemesis bosses in that area. So like every person's experience of their playthrough would be different because of that.
Shit. Is it online now, or are you actually playing it?
Oh yeah. So and if you're watching this and you've played my game, I'm sorry. Because if you experienced bugs, those bugs are probably not going to be getting fixed anytime soon. I spent like 3 years making that game, and it was the first game that I'd ever like coded, right? Learned how to code, did all that stuff. And whenever I was trying to troubleshoot the errors and the bugs and stuff, I got pretty far. I fixed a lot of stuff from where it was. But every time I'd try and fix one of the bugs,
you just cause another one.
Well, to reload it to see if the change had taken effect would take 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes inside the game engine recompiling these scripts, because I had like basically slammed a bunch of tutorials together and tried to make them work. And so some stuff worked, but some stuff probably created some sort of like loop that I wasn't aware of. And so then the state of the game as it is how it's going to be. So
running as it is, huh?
And I've had people from my work do like speed runs of the game, and it can be played, it can be beaten. So as long as I've watched people with my own eyes beat the game, you might have some bugs here and there, but you can run the entire thing all the way through, get the whole story, so there's
a whole story to the whole thing. Like it's like you don't just keep building up and building up. Like there's a beginning to an end.
So personally, I do like games that you can grind a lot, but eventually it's just numbers, right? And we're adults. We got kids. We got jobs. You're not going to sit down and infinitely grind numbers just so that you can watch 100 damage become 1,000 and then 1,000,000, right?
Yeah.
At some point it loses its luster. So then the real thing, and I like a good story. Like I'm a storyteller in the different, like I'm a musician, so then I tell stories in the songs, and I really like stories in games. And so then I was like, that's my thing, right? That's how I'm going to get people invested in these games, because otherwise it's just farming gear and shit. But then so with Dragon's Bane, I did voice acting for these different like notes that you can find throughout the world, and it tells the story of what's going on with everything.
So as you progress, like it kind of like fills you a little more in everywhere you go.
And you can collect all the notes and play them back. And that was taken directly from Dead Space.
Okay.
Remember how I was telling you about how I was like super hyped about Dead Space, right? Whenever Dead Space came out, I got super hyped watching the anime and all that shit. And I bought it for my laptop. My laptop couldn't run it, so then I went and bought an Xbox 360 and then bought Dead Space again just to be able to play it on 360. But the storytelling in that game, they had some cinematics, but it wasn't all cinematics. It was through these like audio logs that you'd pick up, and that would fill you in on the story as you progress. So then I really like that because it's like an audio book, right? You don't have to have the cinematics if you can just like build it with your brain.
Yeah.
Figure out what's going on. So with Dragon's Bane, I did that, and then with Radio Silent, which is the current game that I've been working on, I put that one out on Steam. That one is very heavily invested. Like half of the game is the audio logs that you can pick up, and I went super hard in those audio logs.
This is the game you coded as well?
Yep, and I can show you that after this. And I was so like driven and passionate about the audio logs and the story for this game that one night I was just like, I need people to hear this story even if they don't play the game. So I just went through and recorded the entire series of all the audio logs in one sequential playthrough.
Book for someone to listen
and
to?
it's basically like an audio book. And
Where
I think
do you
it's
come
like
up with the ideas for everything?
So for Radio Silent, the basis for that game, the inception of it was I'd seen people playing Vampire Survivors, and that genre was something I never like dabbled in. So then I saw people playing Halls of Torment also on YouTube, and that was supposed to be like a Diablo 1 graphics version of Vampire Survivors. So then I started playing Halls of Torment, and I really liked that one.
Is Diablo kind of like a...
So Diablo is a action RPG, and you get inventory and different equipment and stuff like that.
I was thinking more of like a League of Legends type of thing. I don't know why I thought it was that.
No, that one's like a MOBA. So then with Halls of Torment, I really like that play style and genre and all that stuff. You level up a certain amount while you're in the game, but then when you die, it kind of resets. But there's some currency you can acquire in the game to where when you bring it out, you can level up and like beef your character up permanently, right? So then I wanted that style of play, but I'm not a team of people, and I don't have a lot of time. So then the main hook is not going to be the art, right? I can do decent art, but the story, right? So then the story, I wanted it to be like a space game, and I really liked Event Horizon and Aliens, right?
Okay.
So then I wanted that to have some sort of mesh together. And I also, at the time, I had discovered another Sam Neill, I think is the actor for Event Horizon, the main antagonist.
I don't know if this is a movie we're talking about.
Yeah, Event Horizon. You never saw that one? Oh man, you're gonna have to watch it. It's a spaceship that like travels into a different dimension, and then the different dimension is like hell, and then it comes back out, and it's like a possessed ship.
What the fuck?
It's great, and it's like the same 90s like horror style as like Aliens.
I'm trying to think of the movie my buddy made me watch not too long ago. It was like one of those movies. I'm gonna waste too much time thinking about this, so let's continue. But man, like he's always like, you need to watch this movie. I'm like, dude, you got like a fucking 10-page list of movies you keep telling me to watch. I don't have time for all these fucking movies.
Oh,
man.
yeah. I
wish I could just watch movies all the time. I could barely get through a fucking one movie a week, let alone fucking 10 a week. I pass out as soon as I lay down.
I know, man. I feel that. But yeah, I like movies that like, make you think super hard. But Event Horizon was definitely, it's like a lost classic. Not a lot of people have watched it, but the story of that, I really was running with that, and I was thinking like, it'd be super cool to have a game and a story where you're following a ship into a wormhole, like into wormhole space.
Okay. Into
And
the unknown, huh?
yeah, and so then that kind of played into like the whole Interstellar thing, and like
that was one of my favorites. I love that movie.
I know, right? Or like if anybody has played EVE Online, there's like normal space, and then when you find a wormhole, you go into wormhole space, and wormhole space is like totally different. I wanted like.
So what would you classify wormhole space as? Come on, break it down for me.
So in my version of wormhole space, and this whole story is literally like an audio log of somebody having a little cassette tape and just recording exactly what they're seeing on the approach to the wormhole, then when they go into the wormhole, and then everything that happens after they are inside wormhole
This is a movie
space.
set type of thing, or this is realistic? Or?
This is like in my game, like I
I got you. Okay.
I wanted it to feel very real,
Yeah,
like raw emotion
this
of
could
like
happen type
like
of shit. Okay.
exactly like a person just experiencing it and just like play by play exactly
Okay.
what's going down. So then I talk about like. There's like in Aliens, there's the big bad corporation that values money over personnel. So then there's that dynamic at play in the story.
Shit doesn't change with humans.
Yeah, so then I have that in play in the story, and then also, the guy is like, he's a scientist. They see the wormhole, they go into hypersleep, and they wake up, and they're like about to enter the wormhole, and then it's like the whole turbulence. They go in, and then just space inside the wormhole is different than space on the outside, right? So like time doesn't behave the same. Space, like, you ever heard the term Euclidean space? Or non-Euclidean space?
What's his name? Terrence Howard talks about Euclidean.
Yeah.
So I wanted to look up and see what he's talking about, Euclideans. I don't know how he defines that, but I am curious. So break it down for me.
Euclidean space would be like what we're used to. Non-Euclidean space would be like if this room was like distorted, and then like I got up and I tried to walk to that deer head over there. Instead of it taking like 5 steps, it would take like 20 steps because of my perception of like the floor is like different than what is actually happening. Like mind fuck type
acid
shit.
Trip, just trying to get to one point
absolutely.
A plus B does not equal C.
Exactly. Yes. And like I delved heavily into my story that I wrote, and it is just like super trippy. I tried to really like make it to where the main character is like losing his mind because of that shit, and like time and space is not behaving like he's used to.
So is it like a scientific like physics behind Euclidean and non-Euclidean?
You'd have to look it up. I'm only ever
I'm just
seen.
trying to dig in your brain.
I know, right? I don't really know a whole lot about it. I've seen somebody online make a game engine where they were like, they basically had like a tunnel, and like from the side you looked at the tunnel and it looks like a normal tunnel, and you would go through like here and then pop out the other side instantly. So like the space inside the tunnel would be very sharp.
Your depth perception is just not there anymore.
Right. Or like you go into like a room and it's got a doorway, and then it looks like it would only have 2 rooms, but then you keep entering different rooms
Rick
inside.
And Morty show. You pop your head out and you come out right here type of shit.
Yeah,
the vortex.
that type of stuff. Just like wacky space,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Anything can happen type stuff.
Man, I love to think that that could be reality one day. Like we just need to learn how to control. I don't know. We need to learn how to control you. I don't even know if it's been discovered, but I feel like it may happen one day. Like shit's just gonna change for the worse or for the best.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you can use something along those lines as a weapon. I think then you just learn how to control the universe. I don't know, but man, I hope for the best for the world.
Yeah.
Whenever we discover that.
Oh man. Yeah, I definitely like thinking about all that mind-altering stuff, but I'll definitely show you. You should totally listen to the audiobook format of it. It'll break your brain. I even went as far as to like, you have your main character that you've been following his story, and then I went and made like an entire boss, like because I really like whenever there's a good story that you can kind of sympathize with the main bad guy of a movie or something like that.
The pro-antagonist.
Yeah, so then I made a whole set of audio logs from the like bad guy's perspective, and like his descent from like being a somewhat good guy into the bad guy role.
Yeah.
And that one came out very
Sounds
good
like
as
the new
well.
Buzz Lightyear movie where Buzz Lightyear ends up being the asshole at the end of the movie.
Or like Anakin Skywalker moments.
Yeah, man. Like, there's so many movies like on that same storyline. Like, they seem to be the good guy, and then all of a sudden they're the fucking guy they've been fighting the whole time. What a mind fuck every time, dude.
Or like, have you seen the new Dune movie?
No, I haven't.
So good.
Really?
Oh my god. They had
Man, I need
Dune.
to start watching more movies, man. Shit.
Dune.
I don't know what I'm doing with my time, and it's not the right shit.
Being productive and like helping the community out. What are you
Yeah,
doing? Not watching movies,
Trying to help
bro.
people save money, man. That's our like main goal. Like we are a roofing company, but we solely use. When I say solely, we do retail, but we help a lot of people save money by going through insurance.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, just say. So we had a customer like this Monday. We did her roof. She paid $1,000 for a $35,000 roof. Yeah, dude.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's crazy.
That's great because insurance companies have no problem screwing you
Oh, yeah,
over
dude.
at the
That's
drop
what we
of a
tell
hat.
customers. Like, we're not here to screw you over. We're here to show you how to use insurance, but you've been paying for it for 20 years. You've never filed a claim.
Yep.
How much money do you think you've given them in 20 years? You've paid your roof off or whatever you need to fix multiple times.
Yep.
I had a discussion with a customer today. He's like, dude, if I would have never paid insurance on my home, I could have bought another fucking house. Because I've been living in this home for 40 fucking years paying, I don't know what his fucking shit is, but I know it's a couple grand. 'Cause it's a big ass house.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, dude. And then whenever he filed a claim on his home, they fucking denied him.
Yep. That's about right.
But man, I got a funny story, bro. I was talking to State Farm today, and when I called the agent, he was like, "Hello, this is Jake," and I was just fucking silent for a second. I just fucking started giggling my ass off. I was like,
It's him.
Jake from State Farm. Is this the fucking real guy?
The man.
He's like, I fucking get this all the time. I was like, it's you, man. You wearing your khakis or what, dude?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, dude. We love fucking with the insurance. Like,
He was grinding his teeth.
Oh yeah, he's like, fuck, he ain't got no hair anymore. Like, I don't know why I still fucking work here. They pay me too much in my commercials. That's the only reason I'm here. Probably has a plaque on his wall. He's like, most known fucking State Farm member ever.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's great. Well,
Oh yeah, dude.
we're coming to the end of the segment, man. You have any final closing words?
I just want to give a shout out to all the local Louisiana people and all the Clotodians I work with, man. I really enjoy what we do, and I hope y'all call us and y'all want to save some money now that y'all know what we're trying to do for y'all.
Hell yeah, and we'll get some links from you and stuff
Yeah,
so
yeah,
people
yeah.
can figure out where to reach you and stuff.
Yeah. I'll give you a business card. You can
Excellent.
post it on there, like, call this guy if you want a free roof inspection. We don't even charge you for roof inspections.
Hell yeah.
Peace of mind, baby. That's what I call it. But if you ain't got no damage on your roof, it's peace of mind.
Yeah. Well, tight, man. Appreciate you being on the show.
Cheers, man.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna cheers it out to the public. All right. That was a good one, man.
It's been real. Peace out, everybody.
Later, y'all.